What's up guys, and welcome to my Oni Perk and Addon guide. This guide will go into detail on how every perk works with Oni and the numbers behind every add-on in Oni's arsenal. I was going to make a longer Oni guide that included how to navigate tiles and play Oni in general, but I felt like that was way too difficult to explain because a good Oni always has to adjust to how a survivor plays. Instead, I highly recommend you watch how I play live on Twitch so you can understand how I play these tiles and get a feel to how survivors react to my Blood Fury. The link to my Twitch is in the description. Now back to the main focus of the video, which will be covering everything you need to know about the builds and add-ons of Oni. If you're only looking for specific parts in the video, I included timestamps for your convenience to skip around in the video. So let's start off with the perks that play well with Oni. This is a tier list I put together based on my personal beliefs on what you should run and what you shouldn't run with Oni. This list does not have a specific order, I just categorize these perks simply off of tiers. Keep in mind this list isn't to dictate what you should consider fun when playing Oni. If you want to run a Mindbreaker furtive chase build and you find this to give you the most fun when playing Oni, go for it. At the end of the day, what matters most is how fun the build is and how much fun you're having while playing the killer. So let's start from the best perks tier. These perks will give you the most value in assisting in what Oni struggles in or further improving his strengths immensely. The first perk, of course, is Barbecue and Chili. This perk is extremely meta among all killers due to it giving you extra blood points while also giving you valuable information in finding your next target. Being able to hook someone in demon dashing or just walking to your next chase is extremely valuable to an Oni player. The next perk on this list is Brutal Strength. This perk assists extremely heavily against players who toss pallets early to prevent hits in the early game. This is one of the hard counters against Oni, and Brutal Strength will help you keep those chases and land your initial hits easier. Even past the early game, the ability to break pallets faster while outside of your power is extremely useful. A personal favorite perk of mine is Deer Stalker. This perk enables Oni to completely leave a slug that he made to find other survivors around him. The ability to easily track slugs saves a lot of time in the game and can lead to extra hooks, which can in turn win you the game. Even if you can generally find slugs that you made, being able to always pinpoint survivor locations is extremely useful to the killer. Hex Ruin, in my opinion, is the most underrated perk in the entire game in all killers. This perk applies pressure as long as you consistently pressure gens and force survivors to do other things. This perk is insane on Oni due to the fact that once you're inside a Blood Fury, you're able to easily push survivors off of generators, make survivors decide if they should get off their gen to save, and finally if they should get off their gen to pick up a slug. The passive regression of 200% per second adds up and can win you games on its own. Although this perk is a hex, the value you get out of this perk varies depending on its lifetime. But overall, the given upside of this perk is way more valuable than its downside. I'm All Ears is another one of those perks that are heavily overlooked due to its cooldown. The ability to know what way a survivor is running or if they're double vaulting a window is extremely useful when demon dashing inside of a tile and can end chases in a matter of seconds. Infectious Fright and Monitored Abuse is one of the strongest synergies on Oni. Infectious Fright enables an Oni to continue to find other survivors once he downs someone inside or outside of Blood Fury, which leads to a heavy snowball. This perk, in combination with Monitored Abuse, is extremely powerful. Monitor increases your terror radius by 8 meters when in chase and reduces it by 8 meters when outside of a chase. This reduction can allow Oni to get closer to a survivor without them noticing and land their initial hit. And then the extra 8 meters allows Infectious Fright to get more value. These perks are good on their own as well, but excels as a combination. Pop Goes the Weasel is just a no-brainer perk choice. There isn't much to say about this perk, and it is in my opinion the absolute best gen slowdown in the game, and it works every time you hook a survivor. Being able to regress 25% of a gen with every kick is extremely good value. This perk helps Oni's snowballs very heavily. Whispers is arguably the best tracking perk in the entire game and can be swapped out with Barbecue and Chili if you do not care about blood points too much. Being able to know when a survivor is within 32 meters of you enables you to find chases and start them quicker. Now we move on to the good tier. These perks also assist Oni in their own specific way, but not to the degree the other perks do. Corrupt Intervention is a perk I simply do not like running. Although it does apply pressure by narrowing the generators the survivors can choose from, this does not slow gen speeds all throughout the game to a great extent. This is although a great perk for finding survivors and starting your chases rather fast. Discordance is a good tracking perk when survivors decide to push out gens with their team rather than doing it by themselves. This perk can give you information on where to demon dash next or even where to begin your chase. Although this information you get every game won't be guaranteed, it is helpful when it does happen. Enduring and Spirit Fury is just a naturally good combination to anyone who can't avoid eating pallets the entire game, and Oni is one of those killers to an extent. Enduring reduces your stun taken when not respecting pallets, which can save you a lot of time and lets you have more freedom with pallets. Once you're able to break 2 pallets, you can essentially land a free hit and begin your snowball. Although Spirit Fury can be rendered useless by early pallet drops, it can force loops to end early due to it. Knockout is always good on killers who can slug. You can completely abandon slugs and watch the survivors scramble to find them, essentially wasting more time. This perk can get extreme valued or just rendered useless based on the circumstances. Communication, small maps, and aura perks counter this gameplay, but when it does work, you're sure to notice the impact. Sloppy Butcher is just a no-brainer for killers who benefit on survivors remaining in the injured state. For Oni, the longer you're injured, the more blood is available for him to use on the map. This perk is never a bad decision to run on Oni, but keep in mind once you do get your snowball going, Sloppy Butcher will not apply in Blood Fury, which is really the only downside. Now we start getting into the okay perks. I mean, these perks do sort of help with situations, but they're just way better choices. Nurse's Calling, Thanatophobia, and Cholorophobia do assist in a type of anti-heal playstyle, but the upside they provide is very minimal in this type of gameplay, and you're better off running something else. Bitter Murmur, Surveillance, and Thrilling Tremors are all pretty average information perks that can help you find your next chase or grant you the ability to patrol gens easier, although this is outshined by way better alternatives. Bamboozle and Blood Echo assist you in chases by nullifying the threat of windows and exhaustion perks to an extent, but again, there's just way better alternatives to choose in chase rather than these perks. Hex Third Seal is an extremely strong slugging perk, but unfortunately does not apply to survivors when a Blood Fury and is a Hex, which becomes more of a nuisance to manage. Devour Hope and Dark Devotion provide value when they actually work. If Devour Hope does stay up for 5 stacks, you can easily win your game, but it doesn't happen often enough to warrant using this perk. Dark Devotion works well when you're able to hit your obsession with your basic attack and demon dash away, but there are not many opportunities to do so. Shadowborn is more of a comfort thing that allows you to have a larger field of view, which can make it easier to spot survivors. This doesn't really do anything for you in game, but the extra FOV can enable the Oni player to have an easier time slamming and demon dash hitting. Hex No One Escapes Death is just naturally a good perk in shifting the endgame. If this perk stays up, you can hard punish survivors with your insta-down ability and your extra speed. Although it doesn't really make too much sense to run on this perk because Oni already has a one-shot down in his kit. I won't be going into detail on the not ideal perks and the don't use perks tiers because they're pretty self-explanatory. All these perks are either extremely niche, don't provide anything for Oni, give unnecessary status effects, or just extra visuals and sounds to give in a chase, which really don't help in the grand scheme of things. Now we move on to Oni's add-ons. Oni has some really good add-ons that provide an upside in their own unique ways. The list I'm presenting before you is how I believe Oni add-ons play inside of the game. Again, keep in mind, this is my personal opinion after hundreds of hours of playing Oni. So let's start off with the insane tier. The reason I named this tier the way I did is because I feel like these add-ons deserve nerfs because they're so strong. Scalp Top Knot provides a faster charge to you in your Demon Dash, which makes it easier to navigate inside of tiles. This add-on barely gives any time for survivors to react to that charge, which almost guarantees a down in Oni's favor. Lion Fang adds an additional 10 seconds to Oni's Blood Fury to an already long base duration of 45 seconds. This can allow an Oni to make even more mistakes and slug even harder, which I feel was way too much to give to an Oni player, but is in fact one of his stronger add-ons currently. Moving on down to the good tier. These add-ons play extremely well in game, but also feel balanced rather than having an unfair advantage. Wooden Oni Mask and Splintered Hold decrease the time it takes for a survivor to drop blood passively, while also making the survivor drop more blood on actions inside of the game such as fast faults and pallet drops. This supplies Oni with exactly what he needs all throughout the game, which would be blood. The more blood available to Oni, the more time he's able to spend inside of his power. Chip Sahai and Yamoka Sashimono are also duration add-ons but are less powerful than the Lion Fang. The extra time it provides is still a large sum, but it feels more manageable and still provides a heavy upside to Oni. Now onto the alright tier. These add-ons still assist Oni, but not as heavily as other add-ons. Incline and Terrasoak Tenugu are just weaker versions of duration add-ons. If you're not able to slug 3 survivors inside of Blood Fury, you'll get more value with the duration add-on. Although Incline does provide the passive of reducing activation time and deactivation time for Blood Fury, which is always nice to have. Akito's Crutch and Kanai Anzen Talisman give Oni extra speed inside of Blood Fury, which allows him to traverse the map faster and find his targets quicker. But out of personal experience, the extra speed tends to be a complete hindrance inside of tiles when trying to down a survivor. But this could just be a preference thing. Cracked Sakazuki just reduces Blood Fury activation and deactivation time. This is just nice to have so you can get into your powered state faster and begin chases quicker, and once you run out of your power, not be hindered by the slowness of getting out of your power as much. The situational tier is the next one up. These add-ons are good in specific niche scenarios given in each game. Renjiro's Bloody Glove shows the aura of survivors that go through their own blood, which give Oni the information to land a hit inside of the tile. Unfortunately, blood is also absorbed into the survivors, which deprives Oni of his power, and Oni does not get used to this add-on once inside of his powered state. Blackened Toenail and Bloody Sash are alright add-ons if you decide to absorb blood while inside of a chase. This just allows Oni to keep chases easier while not being heavily deterred by the movement speed when absorbing blood. Rotting Rope and Child's Wooden Sword give Oni the ability to see blood at further distances. This allows Oni to track blood traces somewhat easier to find hiding survivors, although this is about all it does. The terrible tier are just downright useless add-ons. Iridescent Family Crest makes survivors scream when you miss an attack, only when they're 12 meters away from you. 12 meters is an abysmal amount of range, but also having to miss to activate this add-on. Shattered Wakizashi and Polished Mayday increase the blood Oni can get passively. The amount it provides is extremely minimal, while at the same time, these add-ons itself can't even provide you your power. They're just way better alternatives to choose from. Yaoki Talisman allows Oni to absorb his blood faster, but the rate that he absorbs his blood is already really quick. And half the time when you absorb blood, you're right next to the blood, which nearly makes it instantaneous. This essentially sums up everything that you need to know about Oni's add-ons and how perks play with Oni. I really hope that this video assisted you in some way with your gameplay and helped you make decisions inside of the game. Hopefully this video will be the beginning of what's to come with my channel. In the future, I would love to provide more insight on killers, patches, and even provide some live gameplay for you to enjoy. If you thought this video was useful, I would appreciate any sort of feedback letting me know what I can do to improve or just continue what I'm doing. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Goodbye.